Sup, Nerdmigos? I'm the Jive Talking Nerd, John Norgrove. We've got Wife here. We're back at it again for another Trek Jive. This time we're talking about Strange New Worlds Season 2, Episode 4, Among the Lotus Eaters. And what an episode this was. So before we get into all that business and talk about this episode, let's rock smash that like button. Oh yeah, you're gonna smash it. You're gonna break some rocks up about that, and then maybe saw through that subscribe button. I don't. This analogy
I don't
sliding
know where
through.
You're going with this. I was expecting
and then subscribe to the channel and comment below, and then forget that you did any of it.
There you go.
And
I was like,
are
you not gonna align this with the
there
episode?
was literally rock smashing and wood sawing. So
there was. Maybe I've been through the forgetting too.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. So before we get into spoiler-free review, I didn't think that there was more up, and yet here we lie, more up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like what an absolute episode, man. I mean, 10 out of 10. Every episode is fantastic. Absolutely loved it. Definitely ready to get into the meat and potatoes of it.
I would absolutely say, spoiler free, that this show in this season has absolutely found its stride.
Yeah, 100%. These are like perfect episodes.
Yeah.
Every single one of them are just like
not that season
Star
1
Trek.
wasn't fantastic and it didn't have its stride there, but it is absolute
this
perfection.
This season is definitely superior to season 1 so far. So yeah, 100%. So okay, let's get some spoiler alerts up in here and then get into this episode. And what an episode to get into it is. So to start with, when we went to the episode, I saw that the name of the episode was Among the Lotus Eaters, and I was like, somebody's shit's gonna be affected. Somebody's gonna be giving up on life and never wanting to leave the planet or something. I had no clue, right? This was before we even knew they were orbiting a planet, right? While the Star Trek emblem whoosh was still occurring. I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. Because I remember this story from the Odyssey, the story of Odysseus and the island of the Lotus Eaters or whatever. And I was I know exactly what's going to happen in this episode. I'm so on point with this. Now, how is it going to unfold? Right? I was just saw the episode title and was just best Star Trek. When Star Trek does a classic story like that, you know? But this sort of put a little bit of a twist on it. This sort of circumvented the traditional Lotus Eaters thing, right? I mean, we still had the sort of pure form of the Lotus Eater tale in the local that they befriended, who's just let's take the middle way, guys. Everybody, it doesn't matter. Just, as long as you look at the totem, that's good enough. You don't need to remember nothing or whatever. So he was very in it. He was very on the hype train of eating Lotus, as it were. So we got that out of him, but the rest of it sort of unfolded in this almost the exact opposite, right? In almost it's if the effects of the island of the Lotus Eater was closer to the effects of the sirens on that travel, where it's you can't escape the thing. As soon as you're in there, you're in it. You don't get a choice.
It's the last episode. It's familiar but different.
Sure.
Because the last episode title was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow.
Yeah. Which obviously, I mean, so look, these guys are they're making refs.
Well,
right?
They're making
so many references. They're just what are we going to do? Take a classic story and just update it for Star Trek? And you're yes, that's literally what we want from Star Trek. Don't. Well,
and that's literally what they're doing.
And that's what they're giving us, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, again, the ship looks amazing. Everybody on the crew, all of their fits are fire. We got to dress like a locals costuming was absolutely fire. The whole visual design of this planet was mad fire, dude. When they cut to this castle reaching up into the sky during sunset with a crescent moon and a shattered partial ring or whatever. You're just all right, man. I mean, I guess
that's an album cover right there.
I guess just put that on a poster,
Knights
dog.
of the Frozen Plain.
Yeah,
or
give me that poster, my dude. Give me that poster.
Yeah.
So Star Trek, seriously, get better at merch. My God, we have money. We want the stuff. Just do the stuff. But like, so it was like such a visually dynamic and beautiful episode, which I expect nothing less at this point in time. But the way that the story sort of unfolded gets like really, it feels like a lot of good character development for everybody equally, right? Because we got the like Pike and the other captain whose name is escaping me right now. I think she plays Winona Earp in the...
She does.
Winona Earp. Yeah, so we're going to call her Winona Earp because I remember
Captain Winona.
Captain Earp. Because it would be her last name.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Pike's first name isn't Pike. What's his name? Pike Smith?
Piketon.
Pike Piketon? Ah, Captain Pike Piketon. I know about that guy. Good captain, whatever.
Yeah.
So Pike and Winona are like having a thing, right? And they keep getting interrupted or whatever, and then like Winona gives him that like dope gift, which like I saw that gift and I'm just like, this shit's gonna do some shit later on.
She brings
this gotta be
him
important.
like a super thoughtful, sweet gift, and he's like, maybe we should break up.
Yeah. Well, it's not.
Woo!
That's already bad.
Woo!
But it's she
Woo!
brought him a thoughtful gift. They only have 30 minutes and barely. She gets the phone call where they're like, hey, we're going to give the promotion to Bob because, fuck you specifically. Because you were like friends with that girl in that case that made us embarrassed. And so she got like, essentially didn't get the job promotion she wanted. And Pike's like, I guess maybe we should be not seeing each other so much, which is just like,
yeah, that's
dick move, bro.
That's a really rough
dick move.
Yeah.
But the necklace, like,
well,
helps
it helped
him
them do the
like
thing.
do his thing.
Yeah.
And then he like gets back together with her. So like good character development there with Pike. We also got to see Pike like lose a little bit of control when he just started like going just wild haymakers to the face on that, whatever Ensign Kingman.
Oh yeah. Zachary. Whoever he is.
Whoever Zachary is, F that guy. But so we get the we gotta go down to this planet and all this kind of stuff, which was sad that what's her last name?
Ortega. She repeated it like 10 times for us.
Ortega.
With an S.
Ortega's.
Yes.
Yeah, well.
I fully expected you to put the S at the beginning.
Sortega? I don't that sounds like a Pokemon. I don't know about that.
It does.
Like she didn't get to go down, so she had to save the ship.
And she was like all excited, but like it's good that she didn't.
I mean,
because otherwise, I don't know that anybody would have able to
I
fly
think
that
maybe
ship.
the Enterprise would have been exploded.
Yeah.
But so, like, it's sad that she didn't get to do the thing. And when we get down there, like the sort of reveal, like at first I'm just like, I don't know, like what's going on with these guys, right? Like maybe it's like a poison in the atmosphere sort of a thing that they didn't know about or some nonsense like that. And then when they like run into bloody the King Zachary. That's I cannot say King Zachary at all and not giggle a little bit. It's like the lamest name for a king. Whatever. I don't know. So the King's just like, I got you. The forgetfulness. Leave them outside so they forget. F these guys. But then, like, we get that whole sort of, we're just gonna break up rocks in a mine, or whatever, in the snow. The whole time, I'm just like, it seems like it would be way colder out there than it is. Nobody seems to be concerned about the cold out there. Yeah. It's a weird energy. It was, like, a little distracting to me. I'm just like, how are none of these people cold? Like, there's snow everywhere. That's snow, right?
That
so, like, what's
snow,
happening here? But whatever, maybe the air is hot or some shit. Special snow, hot snow. But, so we get the, like, rock breakup, trees getting sawn barely in the background sort of a thing. That fight, which just, La'an murdered that guy. So dead, dude. She hit him in the head. She hit him in the hand with that hammer, and I was like, oh, that hand is destroyed, bro. And then she hit him in the head with that hammer, and I was just like, that Guy's dead.
He's not coming back from that one.
Yeah, he's not going to be in Rush Hour 3. So that sucks.
No.
But we get the escape and we get back to these tents, the like tattered yurts.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just like, isn't it fucking cold out here?
Yeah.
Like these, like a yurt can withstand the cold, but like it seemed all tattered and such.
It sure did.
So
yeah.
What's going on with that?
Yeah, these guys are like dressing for summertime.
Yeah.
In the winter.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe they're real. Maybe they're some sort of like sci-fi material. Maybe whatever this planet's yak is.
Maybe the radiation
equivalent is just like.
Well, maybe the radiation
gives everybody a fever.
Or something.
I'll allow it. It makes as much sense as anything else at this point.
You're just like slightly too warm all the time.
You're just like.
Yeah.
But so we get the mystery that like everybody's memories are stored in a cask, and I'm just like, it's a drink. There's like some sort of drink that prevents the memory loss or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Also, as they get down there, they're like, oh, what could be causing this memory loss? And I'm like, I don't know, big glowing fucking rock in the ground that you flew over. Also, they fly over this rock. Let me, like I'm not hating, but they fly over this rock and they're like, we got to go through some choppy sky or whatever. And they fly through the cloud of the rocks to land some 8-hour walk away or whatever the heck. But they could have just flown to the left of the cloud. And if they were concerned about being seen, fucking land at night. And then wait 20 minutes in the shuttle until dawn breaks and start walking at dawn. Like, what are you doing, man? It was such a weird way to do that. And then, of course, they show up and fucking the king is like, I saw that shit straight coming towards me, so. Right?
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I'm just like, of course he did, man. You took like the worst approach to this.
Yeah.
But so we get the like totem, which was super cool. Yeah. That they use like a pictographic sort of memory thing that's like a thing comes down and everybody forgets, but it's okay, and the people inside the castle, they don't forget because they do all of our memories or whatever. And then there's the like folklore tale about the cask, and I am so convinced at this point in time that the cask is like magic wine or some shit, right? Whatever, sci-fi wine, who cares? And so I'm just like 100% that's what this is, right? Convinced. And then we get in there, and come to find out, it's just that the rocks shield you and your memories return.
Yeah.
Right. Which I guess good for that king that it worked that fast, because he was about ready to get lasered in the whole body.
I mean, also good for the Enterprise.
Good for the Enterprise, right? Because then they could just like fly away and be fine. Yeah. Also, speaking of the Enterprise not being so fine, so the asteroid belt or whatever around this thing, the meteor cloud or whatever, is like where this radiation's coming from. So of course flying into it makes it worse to begin with. But Ortega's being like, I'm the pilot, I gotta fly this. And then she's in there, muscle memory, flying this ship, and they're like approaching this big ass asteroid or whatever, and she's just like, we're just gonna thread the needle. And I'm like, that looks like one thing. And normally thread the needle is between two things. And then she just like lasers through, phasers through the rock.
Right through. I mean, that is really, and I was just like, I was like, peak. The most accurate.
It's so good. I love it. I'm so here for it. It's that like bit of silliness that makes this show so good.
Yeah.
But so like they inevitably figure it out, and they get shield modulation and this, that, and the other thing. But like it was a really good sort of like original series vibed episode where you've got like heavy reference to a classical story. You've got like the crew under a shenan that's related to but can't directly affect the primary story. You've got the primary story like essentially just living out like a Shakespearean play, for an abundant lack of better words.
Yeah.
Right? And you've got a bit of morality in there, a bit of character development, and a continuation of plots and elements that we know about, but that aren't like one overarching story. You know, so if you watch this episode out of sequence, you might be like, oh, like, what's going on with Pike and her getting in a fight? But like, they give you enough information that you can pick it up at any point in time, as well as like it gets resolved, so you don't have to worry about this like long, drawn out.
Well, and they're not really
thing.
like talking a whole lot about it. You know, it's
it's not like some big thing.
It's less about what happened in the previous episode than it is about the intrinsic issue with their relationship.
Yeah, as presented in this episode, like with singularness, you know? So, no, I think they did a really, really, really good job bringing like original series energy, right? Yeah. This whole episode, I'm just like, I'm very like, I feel like I'm watching like Shatner and Nimoy, you know, and Kelly and all of them. Like, I feel like I'm watching like the original series cast. Like, we're down on the planet and we're dealing with this vaguely Greek conundrum, right? And the ship is like, we're up here and everything's fine, except for all of the crazy stuff that's going on, you know, or whatever. So I really enjoyed that. And the way that they did the forgetting felt like very, very like practically, you know, like practically reasonable, you know? Yeah. And like, it produced like a really interesting interaction where you get to see these characters, like you can recognize like La'an's character inside of the forgetfulness and like Mbenga's character and like Pike's character within the forgetfulness, but you can also tell that they're like you can feel that they don't really know who they are, but they know like what they are, for an abundant lack of better words.
You can see the like lack in their personality.
Yeah, the like raw struggle to remember and piece together why they feel the emotions they feel in the situation.
You can feel like the lack of their personality, how they are intrinsically not whole because they have lost these memories.
Yeah, totally.
Like, yes, you see the struggle there and you see all that stuff and you can see it like striving to have it come back.
Like with audience knowledge, you can
see how much
tell that they're not the people they are.
Less
they are. Totally.
How like you know, in wrestling they talk about how the ideal persona for a professional wrestler is just their regular personality turned up to 10, and you can tell that they were not sitting at a 10.
Sure,
they weren't even sitting at an 8. They were like at a 4.
Yeah.
So you could tell how less they were than they normally are.
Yeah. How much more like everybody, it felt like they were written in the photocopy. I feel old person. Photocopied 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You know, refotocopied 1,000 times. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's shapes in here, but they're not words. Dog, you can't photocopy that many times.
Yeah.
You know, you can't like shrink down and then size up a JPEG that many times. Now you're just dealing with raw pixels. There's only so much enhance the CSI can do. Yeah. As it were. So, I completely agree. And not only does it show that it was written fantastically, so like definitely shout out to the writers in this episode. They absolutely crushed it. But it was also acted fantastically. Yeah. Right? Like everybody really brought the like the sort of like, where am I? Who am I? What is this?
What is this?
They really brought that energy like good.
Yeah, they did.
You know?
They absolutely
and
did.
Not too silly where I feel that it could easily have gotten too silly.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, this was such a great episode with so many like complex and interesting parts. And I appreciate that they did the Lotus Eaters thing. Yeah. Like that's it's so cool that they did that. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, let's do these like weird classic stories like
this. These nods to a classic story.
Yeah, like nouveau classic. Not only just classic Trek, but like classic like stories. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like if we get a ship of Theseus episode, I'm gonna lose my marbles. You know, like that kind of thing. Like, they're doing like the thing.
The thing about it, I particularly
we kind of got a Midsummer Night's Dream last season.
We
with,
did,
with magical one.
I think one of the things that I particularly love about this, like, quote unquote old style of Trek that you see a whole lot of in the original series and also in TNG, and like you see it in other Star Trek.
You see a little in DS9 and a little in Voyager, but not as much.
Yeah, those were already sort of transitioning away from the style of storytelling.
It's essentially all the way gone in Enterprise.
It's like you're getting this like classical nod to a story, but that classical nod of the story also has like a bit of morality in it.
Yeah.
So, with this episode...
It's like a college putting on. It's like... these sort of episodes I always think of as Star Trek Presents. You know, like when you go to like your local junior college and you're like for us, it'd be like Santa Rosa JC's theater group presents, some Shakespearean or a Midsummer Night's Dream. And it's like, yeah, they're doing a Midsummer Night's Dream, but they're not doing it like a hundo passundo, like OG style. They're taking that story and they're like evolving it and making it their own. And whether that's like, the Romeo plus Juliet, like sword on the gun,
I love that movie.
Slapdashery, right? I mean, it is fantastic because they're doing what I perceive as the best way to tell these tales, which is tell the tale, but like make it your own. Right?
Yeah.
I'm very pro make it your own. And I think that Strange New Worlds, especially this season, has perfected that thing that doesn't exist as much as it used to during like the original series and TNG, when that was like, I feel like that was more common.
Yeah, well, I mean, they are definitely doing it their own, and I do love that, but that's not what I mean. What I mean is they're like, they're doing a thing that like kids cartoons in the 80s did a lot of.
Yeah, during TNG.
Where at the end they were like, no, TNG was in the 90s, mostly. So
I mean, mostly, yes,
like the stories have a moral. You know, like in He-Man, it was like, don't take candy from strangers, kids. But like with this episode, it's like
the G.I. Joe, like the more you like,
yeah. So with this episode, you have something to kind of like walk away with, to think about, right? And this episode is like the struggle between forgetting a painful past and remembering that painful past. You know, where do you go with that? Yeah. Where is your line? And what it looks like to completely forget
what is the value of your memories, and like if you forget the thing, it removes the pain, but it only removes, I mean, and you know, our local liaison sort of did a fantastic job exemplifying this, where it's like he knows that whatever he's forgotten is like terribly painful, but he doesn't know what it is, and he doesn't know like why it's this painful. But he's also like aware of the fact that like he doesn't have like a kid or like a significant other. So like it's probably got something to do with that, you know, and like,
but he's
like
also
those sort of things.
At first okay with not knowing because he's afraid of the pain of remembering that over and over. It's the movie 50 First Dates. In its own way.
It is low-key, you know, or is the movie 50 First Dates a weird editorial telling of the Lotus Eaters from the Odyssey, which it might be, and that's an upsetting thing to have finally discovered.
But then by the end, he's like, you know what? Even though these memories are painful, they still have value.
Yeah,
and
in the remembering, he understood the value.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's sort of like forgetting. Like in the forgetting, he accepted that the forgetting is for the best, but in the remembering, he realized where the true value lies. But at the same time, I think you can see where like Pike and M'Benga and La'an seeking their memories so fervently sort of swayed him towards the idea that maybe there is value in remembering, in being like the whole of yourself. Yeah. Right. And this offered an interesting perspective where it wasn't just like,
well, he had become complacent in his forgetting.
Yeah. Well, I think that like having La'an being injured and having M'Benga needing his memories to perform the necessary procedures to save her life sort of gave him that understanding that like the forgetting is though the forgetting may be fine in the short term, in the long term, in the important times, right? Like the detailed texture of your personality, the remembering, is the important thing.
Yeah.
Right? And that this sort of like the forgetting's okay, don't live in the past, don't live in the future, live in the moment, sort of like broken middle way archetype that he was sort of like accepted into, or had accepted into himself, I should say, at the beginning of the episode, when challenged with people so engaged in subverting that idea and trying to remember, and then experiencing these people trying to remember, not just for the selfish reason of wanting to remember, but for the necessary reason of needing those memories. I think that's kind of like, and I know that like him entering the castle and waiting was an off-screen sort of occurrence. I don't know that there would be like watching this guy walk in wouldn't affect anything because it takes time for you to remember or what have you. But I think that's that push that it took him to, instead of turning around and walking back to the village, to help carry La'an in.
Yeah.
Right? Because at any point in time in this mission, he could have left. Right? He could have been like, the castle's that way, deuces, and bounced. And I think that he was sort of like caught up in the swell.
Yeah.
Right? He was sort of like dragged out to the sea of memories by these people and the sort of like tide that they produce in their desire to know those memories so fervently.
Well, and additionally,
At
the end, he said that Pike reminded him of his son. So he probably had an emotional twinge that was telling him to keep going.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it,
to
right?
Follow the emotions, literally the thing that he said.
Yeah.
Earlier.
Well, and we saw that by following that emotion, I mean, that's what allowed Ortega's to like get the courage to like go up to the ship and pilot the ship and continue interacting with the computer. And I think that it's also the thing that like gave Spock the ability to like kind of give Ortega's the push, the like I trust you push, right? So that's sort of like an interesting addendum to all of that. This is a very interesting story, and I feel like we can probably analyze the ever living heck out of it. And we will off camera. Don't worry, it never ends.
Don't worry. This still keeps.
This conversation continues on forever. But this was such a good episode. Man, that's it. This is like maybe my favorite episode of the season so far.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
This is such a good episode. The story of the Lotus Eaters is so interesting to me, and I'm so like I immediately became invested in the way that they were telling the story of the Lotus Eaters, right? And I love that callback and reimagining. This is sort of like, to me, this is like the thing that great Star Trek does, and the thing that great science fiction in general does.
Well, the things that great stories do.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that, yeah, I guess that's true. The thing that all great stories do. So it brings up, it should bring up conversation like that. But before I ramble on for a small eternity, get up and go get another beer or something. We'll wrap it up here. But like, what did you think about this? What did you think about the Lotus Eaters, right? And the forgetting. Oh my God, we didn't even talk about how Ortega's bloody backflipped the starship to tractor beam and bloody asteroid just out into space. Put it in a static orbit. My God, you monster! That maneuver would be almost impossible to predict the outcome of. It's such a bold strategy. Why would you do it that way? But what did you think of this episode? What was your favorite bits? Right? I mean, for me, it was just the connection to this like classic, to the Odyssey, and to the island of the Lotus Eaters and the Tale of Odysseus, and like that whole connection there is for me the part that made this episode so good, was that they told this story in a fantastic way.
Yeah.
But like, what do you think? The best part is, what was your favorite bit? How fire were those outfits? Pike's hair's looking fantastic, guys.
How funny was it when Ortegas was like, "I'm angry at you"?
Yeah. I think that you're up to no good. Scum and villainy, this Spock. Yeah.
Very good.
So yeah, what did you think of all this? Did you get the Lotus Eaters ref before you started the episode, or did you not catch the title of the episode before you started it, so you didn't get it until you were like in it or whatever? Yeah, tell me what you think. How does all that go? What's up with Star Trek and Paramount and all them? We gonna get some those rock medallions? We gonna get some of those in the store? We gonna get some posters of that sweet castle planet? Like what's up, guys? You gonna get me some fucking merch so I can give you money? Like I want to give you money. It's a weird relationship that you're so bad at this. But so what's going on with that? What do you think? So yeah, comment below with all that stuff. Give this video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you want more of this. We do these all the time, and we got some new stuff on the horizon we're looking at, and we've got the podcast. So check that out. Our witchy podcast, Horn and Cauldron podcast. It's everywhere, but also on this channel. So all that, support us on Patreon and our Etsy shop. Shout out to our patrons. You guys are the best. And we'll catch you next time. I've been John Norgrove. This has been Wife. This has been Trek Jive, Strange New World Season 2, Episode 4, Among the Lotus Eaters. And we'll catch you guys next time. Hit it.
Fly high.